now comes the time that my friends get to complain, and I get to just calmly respond. So we are going to review the Netflix movie The Gray Man, starring Ryan Gosling and Chris Evans. So before we get started, I'm just going to say I take all of your criticisms with absolutely, I give it about as much validity as I can, but I'm going to hold my ground here.
Can we all rate out of 10?
Right now?
Yeah.
Fair enough. Go ahead.
2.
Wow.
Maybe 1.
6. No, you know what? I just gotta give it a 6.5, so it adds out to 7 because it was a movie without propaganda.
Yep.
To a degree. So literally just out of that.
That's what I would have given. I'd have given it a 6.5.
What is wrong with you guys?
I'd have given it a 6.5.
We're closer every day.
Okay, it's a 2.
Okay, so I want you to tell. Okay, so the movie is basically it's about a guy named Six, played by Ryan Gosling. He's in prison because he killed his father. I have no idea why he's still in prison when it was the textbook definition of what happens abusive parents. He would have gotten out at 18. But the point is he's recruited by the government, like the Suicide Squad, to be a CIA agent by the estimable Billy Bob Thornton. And then basically the idea here is that they're off the books. He's part of a group of off the books CIA agents who can be denied at any time. And then Regé-Jean Page's character, who I truly believe was he was my favorite part. Every time he was on screen, I was having the time of my life. He wants to take him out and basically hires Chris Evans' character of Lloyd, and my God, does he look like a Lloyd in this movie, to take him out in what becomes extremely comical in certain places, and that is the plot of the movie because Lloyd kidnaps the daughter of the person that Six was trained by, who he had protected in the past, and that is the basic but also somewhat convoluted explaining of the plot. What are your gripes?
Oh my God. Oh, wow.
I don't know. I had some notes that I took during when I was watching that aren't actually notes. They're just little snarky comments about the delivery of things. I thought Regé-Jean Page sucked.
I loved it.
Who?
He sucked. His delivery sucked.
Let me rephrase that. I think if he had gotten some comeuppance at the end, it would have actually been very good.
Also, it would really help me if I knew enough of the characters' names, but they're not remarkable enough.
I just want to say I'm so proud of you for you're like me. We're the literature student didn't read the book Leeds Classroom Discussion.
I mean, yeah.
We watched it this time.
Let me say some lines from the movie that really were just painful to hear.
Mm-hmm.
Got it.
He throws Six's phone out the window and says, "Looks like you need a new phone." How's that?
Not good.
How about we don't chew gum in this house?
I was
that
okay
girl.
With that.
That girl pissed me off.
I loved so basically this character is...
it's just...
I'm going to explain...
No,
okay.
it's just Kid Leia. It's just Kid Leia all over again. Why do they do this? They make kids in movies so annoying.
I know.
I swear it's it actually is propaganda in and of itself. It makes people hate children.
What?
It makes people hate children because they make them out to be so annoying.
By the way, Mary comes up to the studio. Sorry, Brett. And she tells me, "What do you think about the movie?" And Brett's like, "Guys, don't talk about it." And we literally lock eyes and we talk and we share what we dislike about the movie. And literally everything she's saying is what I don't like about the movie. It's incredible. The dialogue in this movie is terrible. It's just this is the plot. I am moving the plot. You must do this. My character thinks this way. It's just the
Here's
worst
another
dialogue.
one. I forget who said this. I believe it was it Chris Evans? I think it was Chris Evans. He said, "Just make it painless. You understand," on the phone.
No, that was
said that?
Billy Bob Thornton's character of Fitzroy said that because he said that about the guy that he... Thank you. I'm going to push back a little bit, okay?
Then there's the no. Because then there's the scene where they're fighting, but there's fog, so it's hard to see things.
The opening scene...
when we were talking about the score being rather generic and about how that could indicate that the story is extremely generic, it lived up to all of that and more.
Thank you.
It was completely one of the most generic action thrillers
It is
I've
very
ever seen.
soulless. It is very soulless. I do think. Okay, this is what I'll push back
And
on.
sexless.
Let's
touch on that, too.
They referenced that in an article that I found. So basically, the idea here is that the character they ruined the most, the actress who I love in almost everything she's in, is Jessica Henwick, and she plays the really annoying CIA person.
She's awful.
She's awful.
She's
this
the
movie.
worst in the whole movie.
She's
What a
literally
harpy.
a CIA Karen who then goes completely against her own moral. Like, she's like, oh, we're just shooting cops in the street now, and then later she threatens to kill a kid. Like, what are you talking about? And then there's another thing where there's the one guy who actually I had some hope for was the what's the character's name? Avik San. That guy, the guy who's like chasing Ryan Gosling's character through Berlin. That guy's all cool and he's relenting. He's going after them. And I watched this dude kill a bunch of cops. And then when he gets back, he finds out they kidnapped a child. He's like, these are not honorable people. I'm like, you just killed a bunch of people doing their job.
He's like,
now if he had said they're not going to pay me, I'm not doing this. And then basically he gave the flash drive back to him because he's like, these are not honorable men. That makes no sense. If you had said he refused to pay me, here's the drive, that makes sense. He didn't do that.
Dude, that was the most cringe moment of the whole movie. He was literally choking a woman to death, and like mid choke, he's like, you know what? I've had a change of heart.
Yeah.
Like, what the hell? And by the way, in this podcast we often talk about suspending disbelief, right? It was really hard to suspend disbelief and see Chris Evans portraying a man.
He's also very like, it looks like he's doing a weird Jim Carrey impersonation.
No,
Yeah.
I was thinking
Like,
the
I'm
same
bad.
thing. The way he was moving.
Yes, he's
it
doing-
was very like
He was
bombastic.
like he had just watched like him play Robotnik in the Sonic movie.
Oh my
And
gosh.
He's like, I think I'm gonna channel that for my Lloyd
because
character.
of having a mustache. That's enough for you to.
The best line in the thing is when Ryan Gosling says like trash dash, it just leans Lloyd. That was like the only line of dialogue that I really liked. I didn't mind the line about chewing gum because they call back to it at the end.
No, they call back to it at the end, but it's like,
I didn't
okay,
hate
so what? It was a bad piece of dialogue. Then like that. It was just an example I wrote down because I was so bothered by the little girl.
If there had been more scenes between Claire, the daughter, and Six, when he was protecting her, if there had been one or two more scenes that really...
their attachment to each other did not click. Like, it didn't make
At
any
all.
sense.
If they had given one or two more scenes that allowed them to break down the barrier between him being the emotionless dude that he is, and allowed him to kind of develop that bond more so, that would have made the impact of him coming to save her at the end more meaningful. Right?
Yeah.
I don't think that girl, given the dialogue, did a horrible job. She's older. It's
did.
not like she was beating people up, except she did do that thing at the end with the flare, but that was... And then yes, it is extremely sexless because the women can't be hot and want to have sex with men because that would make them sex objects. So they have to let Ana de Armas, who's like one of the most beautiful women in the world, look like a freaking
They put her in a pantsuit.
Yes, and Jessica Henwick, who is a gorgeous woman as well. They both have to look masculine the whole time, which. No, just no. If they had allowed him to get into some type of romantic,
there was even like some type of hinting at that,
yes.
right?
If they had done that,
They
it
didn't follow through.
would have forgiven the lack of sense that it made for him to go and save this little girl.
Dude,
right?
that girl was horrible.
I didn't hate her.
Like, before the last fight, where they're like,
But she's
screw the good.
she's not talking down to him. She's just precocious and talking back to
Brent.
him. That's different.
Sure, like, cool. But like that, I mean, not cool. It wasn't cool. But
Yes,
the thing
what?
is, like, okay, fine. I mean, he likes Ben Affleck as Batman, guys. All I'm saying. It keeps manifesting. Anyway, so they're about to be like, screw the guns, let's fist fight. And this girl who's just seen like a bunch of explosions, she's like, oh my god, don't fight the bad guy. I need to be here for some reason for moral support.
that was so annoying.
And then he just tells her like, hey,
don't do it.
it's just another Thursday. And she's like, okay, that's enough for me to go. It's like, what do you mean?
It's supposed to be
Like, all her tears instantly dry
Yes.
up. And she's
Really?
like,
It's like, yes.
okay.
It's the catchphrase. I get it.
I will talk that I love the color grading of the movie. I love the intro fight scene in the nightclub. I love the way that was shot in silhouette, similar to how they did that in Skyfall. I enjoyed most of the scene with him handcuffed to the bench in Berlin. I thought that was inventive in the way that they handled that, though blocked and shot a little bit chaotically. Most of the CGI was pretty bad. And I do have to ask where the hell the $200 million went, because I didn't see $200 million worth of money in this movie, unless all of it went to Evans and Gosling.
Probably. I find bad CGI incredible in action movies.
It doesn't bother me, but
I
I'm
love
saying there's very real Russo. There's trademark Russo shots. There's a lot of dolly pan forward as somebody's coming towards the dolly to speed up the shot. That's a Russo brothers staple. There's a lot of those sweeping shots of the city when they do the title cards.
No. The drone footage that was like in between a lot of scenes.
Yes.
Was like going upside out, like flying everywhere. It was so jarring and annoying.
But it's a staple to their creative style, so it feels in line with like what they did with Captain America. There's also one thing that I was worried about, that there's like an opaque look to a lot of the stuff the Russo brothers make that feels very washed out, and that's not the case in this. There was a lot of really interesting choices as far as how they looked at color. I understand that I'm looking at this through the lens of like, I'm not looking at it through whether it was a super entertaining movie or not. It
only matters if it's entertaining.
I liked Ryan Gosling's character enough that it forgave the other stuff. Would I watch it again? No, I'm not going to watch this movie again. But the lack of I do think that there's propaganda in here.
Really?
It's light. I think it's propaganda that the female characters are all fighting at the same level as men, when we know that that's not the way.
I mean, but that's every action movie.
Well, that's what I'm saying. But I'm saying it's light compared to what you would normally see. I liked Dickhead Regé-Jean Page's character. I thought he was, but I wanted to see him get his come up.
That was the corniest delivery of any
that line was worse. Remove yourself from my personal space.
Oh, that guy was horrible.
So dumb.
That guy was the worst.
But she that was where I thought I saw it. Like when he says that to her, when she says that to him in the beginning, I'm like, no CIA agent who's dealing with like death overseas and like the protection of a nation is going to be like, get yourself out of my personal space.
Yeah, it was an eye roll both times.
But then when he pulls it back at the end, I was okay with that because he's a dick, and it makes sense that he's a dick. But none of these characters got nothing bad happened to them.
Dude,
they're just as they stood by the Suzanne or whatever they ruined Jessica Henwick with in this movie, stood by and watched a whole bunch of cops get murdered, and then somehow complains, but then threatens to kill a child, and all three of them come back at the end. Is the idea here that working in covert operations is that they're morally gray anyways? I get that, but that's not what you go to a movie like this for. You want to see a conclusion.
But like the ending. Oh my god! Listen again, man. Now I'm reconsidering my number rating. Can I change it?
Yes.
5.
Okay.
5.5. So it's a 6, at least above average. The ending was abysmal. But like before talking about the ending, they should have made a public service announcement before this movie. Is like, hey everyone, you cannot get stabbed as many times as Ryan Gosling and survive. He just kept getting stabbed over and over and over.
Like nothing happened.
Like
they
through the hand.
He stabs him in the shoulders. Like it's fine.
Yeah. And like through
Yep.
the hand, it's like, oh, I can still like somehow make a fist with it.
Also, the line where he's like, nobody throws a loaded gun, that was actually fine until she like nagged him about it. Where like, remember, like he throws the gun up to her and she's like, why didn't you throw me the magazine? He's like, nobody throws a loaded gun. I thought that was awful until they like used that line again later. So that was actually a fair bit of clever reuse of dialogue later on in the film. But her saying that, I'm like, oh my God, stop it. And she's so bland in this movie. Anna de Armas is fantastic, and she's just
she is.
so bland and uninteresting in this movie because the dialogue won't let her be hot. It won't let her be any type of anything other than generic male action hero, but not played by male.
You know what? You're actually right, because at one point she's like, my career. You know, like.
No, another part of the dialogue that happened between what was Anna de Armas's name?
Danny. Oh, also,
this
has been going on for like, I've known this for like 10 years. They always give female characters in these types of movies guy names.
Yeah.
It's always Max or Dan. Yeah. Always.
Yeah, I don't like that.
Yep.
But yeah, one of the pieces of dialogue between Six and Danny when they're in the car and he is in the trunk, he's like, "Why should I trust you?" And she's like, "Because I just saved your life."
Yeah.
And then he's like, "Good point." Like, I swear I've heard that same dialogue in like 10 different other movies.
And there was a point.
It's just so repetitive. Like, I can't stand watching the same thing over and over. That's why I don't usually gravitate towards action movies or action thrillers. Like, they return to the same stupid themes and lines over and over again.
It doesn't bother, like I said, that doesn't bother me. But this is the thing is, I love this genre, so I give a lot of leeway in this stuff because I love this genre of film. I do think that one of the scenes that had the most promise that could have shown the movie was going in a completely different direction was the scene where he gets pushed in the trap door. That was actually very clever and inventive. The way the guy traps him in the trying to take his photo, and then he traps him in the well, and then he gets out by flooding the well. And then setting off the explosion.
How do his legs work?
What do you mean?
Like he took like a gigantic fall.
I know. But yes, none of the scenes in which he gets stabbed, like he never seems to show any damage.
That was the
to
best
it.
part.
But that's besides the point. So I give it a 6 to a 6.5.
Can we talk about the ending though?
Yes.
So the ending, basically he like rescues the girl and run away with her. But dude, you're on like every single CIA list.
Yep.
Like, you're just going to get murdered 2 hours later.
Technically,
like, how is this a happy ending?
That's Gray Man too.
Yeah, the idea is they're pitching it for a sequel. This is based on a book. I have not read the book. So it is interesting to see. And they killed off Billy Bob Thornton, and Billy Bob Thornton was like the best actor in this movie besides Ryan Gosling.
Nah, he was okay.
Billy Bob
He was
Thornton's
like, I don't want a
great.
part of this.
I know, right? Also, the scenes. Okay, the scenes with his like the flashbacks with his dad, which are super sporadic and not really important.
At all.
Not like it's supposed to like inform you as to why he is the way he is. But it doesn't really. It didn't need to be there. This movie
People
was too.
thought I was a monster.
This movie, I was like, dude, you killed your dad, who was like nearly killing your brother. Courts understand that kind of thing. I'm sure you would have gotten out before.
Also, I think some of the timing confused me when it was 2003 in the beginning. He was in jail. And then it says 18 years later. So I'm like, okay, present day.
Yep.
But then it
Flashes
does a
back
bunch
again.
then. Like, it shows you a lot then. And then it says current day.
Yeah.
But, like, how is 18 years later not putting you back in current day?
Because it wouldn't have been 18 years later from when then the next
From
flashback
2003?
would have been. Then there was the flashback of him with Billy Bob Thornton and Alfre Woodard's character. Remember, she's smoking cigarettes. So that wouldn't have been 18 years later. It would have been less time from then.
It did another flashback.
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
To her, that informs you where her character ends up, and that's another thing. They wasted her too. She's a great actress. She kind of gets compared to Viola Davis in a lot of ways, and they're both very, very talented performers. But she's only in it for a couple of minutes here and there. They also wasted Callan Mulvey, the dude who plays like number 4 at the begining. The other gray man that he takes out, like that guy's a great actor. He was in Batman vs Superman. I know, but he's a great. He had a great run on the show Power. So a lot of those actors who I would have liked to have seen more of throughout the movie, certainly more than what they did with Jessica Henwick's character, because she was the one bright spot in a very dark world that was the show Iron Fist. She was the one good thing about that show, and in this she's just whiny and annoying, and that haircut is literally the stuff of nightmares.
What I didn't like about that guy was he was like, I know you just killed me, but I have this trust with you.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to put my life's mission on you. Like,
So,
okay, dude.
I don't know where $200 million went, but I don't see it here.
Yeah, I don't think that Netflix is the future of feature-length films.
Not if
I
they're
don't think
making
so.
these. I mean, like, here's the thing.
It looks cheap.
They could do. The Russo brothers did really good work with Marvel. Like I said, a lot of the articles that I read would reference their stuff, would reference Captain America, the Winter Soldier, and almost all of them put in parentheses the best Marvel, still the best Marvel movie. But in this case, it just Chris Evans didn't work as wacky, crazy, nutty serial killer
As
spy
Dane
guy.
said, he didn't work as a man.
He
For
didn't,
real.
Like,
It was just
he said something about like Ryan Gosling. He said something about Six's like a $5 haircut, and I'm just like, what? What?
Yeah.
This is horrible.
for some reason I think Chris Evans and I think painted nails. And I don't even know.
and a lip piercing.
Maybe.
In his
Yeah.
30s.
In his 30s. Just for me, like I said, the propaganda was minimal, and it was an inoffensive time at the cinema for the genre.
Maybe I'm out of touch, but like I really don't think most films are that heavy on propaganda these days. I don't think they are.
At the big,
I know it's like pandering to
the
be like
TV
I'm on a show called Pop Culture Crisis, so I'm gonna act like all movies are heavy-handed propaganda.
To me,
They're
it
not.
happens more in the television. There's much more room for it in television shows than there is in movies.
Like that
'Cause there's
First
less
Lady
money
show.
in it.
The reason, because like most of the CW shows, right? They do the first 2 seasons are fine, inoffensive superhero stuff. Then the propaganda starts in season 3 because they don't know where else to go with the story. So they're just like, make everything this or make
Yeah.
everything that. Yeah,
I'll call it out when it's there.
Yeah.
And what you pointed out that was propaganda is almost
It's minimal.
baked into people's sensibilities so much now
Yeah.
that they might have done that unintentionally.
The female spy who's 90 pounds that can beat up 5 Navy SEALs will always bother me. It will always, because they never do it in a way that looks realistic. Like maybe that could happen. Just let them shoot the guys.
or
right?
just make them like good at martial arts so they
No,
can
no, no.
evade someone. I
Not
don't
even
know.
that. Not even that, because a 5 foot tall, 90-pound girl that kicks a 280-pound dude, it's not going to register.
She is
Well, I
Latina
mean,
though.
being able to evade somebody
Yes,
is
get
different
away.
than being able to beat them up.
They did
Like,
a fair amount of a good with that, with like the Black Widow character, like coming down
Yeah.
from like rappelling down and using her momentum to knock people over. But when they're doing it here, I see her punching a guy, and you literally see the dude like working to throw himself backwards, and I'm like, have her pull out her gun and shoot them. She's a morally gray CIA agent. She does not need to beat them up with her bare hands and make it look unrealistic. Just shoot them.
I mean, she is Latina. They come with anger. Those.
Fair
those-
enough. Fair enough. And like I said, I think that it doesn't. It like Anna de Armas is misused in this. I think Jessica Henwick is misused in it. The other guy, the one spy, the character's name is Avik San. And the guy says, these are not honorable people. It literally looks like, I was like, they're planning for a spinoff for this dude. I can already see it.
Oh,
and then
yeah.
he says that, and I'm like,
I hope it's called Honorable People.
all he had to say was, they didn't pay me. Here's your stupid drive. That's what he would say in that situation. Please, somebody, God, do a script rewrite.
You do it, Brett.
I will do that for them. Not
You know,
free of charge.
The issue I've seen with like Netflix movies, it's like with Ryan Gosling, Ana de Armas, Chris Evans, and then it's like they don't get a character that fits them. They just like, well, we got a bunch of names. Enjoy.
I thought
like-
Ryan Gosling played 6 fine.
I mean, yeah, he's like the good generic action guy.
I don't
Right.
think it has much depth. I don't know
No.
if it's meant to.
It's not meant to.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching this clip, guys. If you want to see full episodes or follow us on social media, links are in the description below. Bye.
Bye.